After understanding programming basics, let us understand one more concept, that is function oriented programming approach. Function oriented programming, simply it is called as FOP, FOP. Actually, C programs are implemented in the function oriented programming model. This is simply based on a real life model only. That you know that. You do not know that is whatever you are implementing is function oriented programming model. Here, once again, I am telling you, all the programming concepts are based on real life concepts. Why it is like that? Already I told you, our jobs we are entrusting to the computer. If computers are not there in the world, we would have done on our own. Now we are entrusting our jobs to the computer. That's why the nature of job never be changed. Whatever model we are using, we are applying in the real life, computer programming also, similar models they apply. So, function oriented programming model, FOP. This, what we call in real life, is specialist oriented programming. Specialist oriented programming. Just with an example, I can explain. This is you. You want to get your house cleaned. Then what you are doing? You appoint a cleaner. You appoint a cleaner. Cleaner comes and cleans your home and go. You want to shift your house. You want to shift your house. Then what you do? You appoint packer. You appoint lifter. You appoint mover. You appoint three types of specialists. Then you want to get your house painted. Then you appoint a painter. After painting, it should be cleaned. You appoint a cleaner. You have to get your house constructed. Then you appoint a set of specialists like this: architect, engineer, mason, plumber, transporter, carpenter, electrician, etc. Now, this is the real life model. Let us call it a specialist oriented model. Specialist oriented model means whenever a task is to be performed, then what you think of? Which specialists are required? That you think of. That is our thinking model in real life. So you have to get your house, festival is coming, you have to get your house cleaned. Then what you think of? Who is the specialist? Cleaner. Appoint a cleaner. You have to get your house painted. Then you analyze the job. You have to get your house painted. You call a painter. And after painting, your house is to be cleaned. Then you appoint a cleaner. Your house is to be shifted. You called a packer. He packs all the material. And thereafter, one should lift the material. For that, lifters you appoint. Thereafter, mover. The goods should be transported. Mover. Next, you want to get your house constructed. Then you appoint a set of people, a set of specialists: architect, engineer, mason, carpenter, electrician, plumber, transporter, etc., etc. A series of specialists you appoint. Everybody knows this is a real life model. Whether you call it a specialist oriented model or not, you can call it right now. You can call it a specialist oriented model. So now let us analyze that. By contribution of the cleaner, your house is clean. By contribution of the painter and cleaner, collective contribution of painter and cleaner, your house got painted and got clean. By collective contribution of the packer, lifter, and mover, your house got shifted. By collective contribution of all these specialists, your house got constructed. Understand? So this is the model. Here one thing you remember, here one person, one set of persons only may perform their job. But if you take in the specializations, packing is a specialization, lifting is another specialization, moving is another specialization. So we have to think in that angle. Either one person is doing or set of persons are doing, collectively doing, separately doing, that is immaterial. Now we are studying a concept. Concept wise, this is the model. This is in real life programming what we implement. You can call it as specialist oriented model. The same model C language also has adopted. And here I take up the same example and show it to you. Here C instead of calling as specialist, it calls as a function. So here in all examples what I have written U. Here C engages a specialist, a function, that is main. Actually every function, how you write in C program, actually one name is there, and after that you write two brackets. These are called a parenthesis. You write parenthesis, the name indicates what it is doing, and the parenthesis tells it is a function. Function means a specialist. It can perform a specialized job, that is the meaning. Here the name tells what it is doing. Now you see, you can understand carpenter. I need not explain what he does, painter, what he does, architect, what he does, engineer, what he does. I need not explain. Simply by names you can understand. C also follows the same thing. One name, it is the indicator of a function. Main. Now you are the manager of entire activity. So you are the manager of all your activities, all your programs. Here main function is the manager of a program. A program. Now you see that here now same program what I explained, printing marks report. Printing marks report program we take. Now analyze that. It is a task. Printing marks report. Now already I explained you the algorithm. Now if you write a function oriented program, how you write, which functions are special, which functions are required. Now just I write, later I explain. Read marks. Read marks. Find total. Find average. Print report. Now main is the manager. Main is like you. Now main is interested in a task. What is the task? Print a marks report. Then you have to get your house constructed. Then what you did? You called different specialists. By collective contribution of all these specialists, your house is constructed. Your house is constructed. This is the model. Now let us consider this model. They are just similar. Instead of you, it is main is there. Main function. Always you call it as a main function. And this is the program. Already I told you, this is the beginning of the program. This is the ending of the program. Now main was interested in a task. What is that? Printing a marks report. Then the main task is printing marks report. Now it dissects into 4 subtasks. The main task is dissected into 4 subtasks. What are the 4 subtasks? Reading marks. That means if you enter data, computer will take and stores the data in the computer memory. Already I explained. Reading marks. After reading marks, finding total. This is another specialist. After finding total, now finding average. After finding average, print report in a formal manner with all this data, and this is the end of the program. Now main called 4 functions. Main called 4 functions. One is reading marks. What is the job of this function? It reads your marks 45, 56, 61, 72, 83. It reads your marks and stores in the computer memory. That is the job of this function. Second one, finding total. This, what is the job of this function? Like carpenter, the name of the function should represent what it is doing. It finds the total. It takes all this data. It takes all this data and returns the total marks. After, it takes a set of data and it delivers, it outputs a data that is called returning. Find total function returns total marks. Next one, find average. What is the input for that? It takes total marks and total marks by 5 it calculates and it returns average marks. Now, all the calculations are over. Printing report. Now, print report function takes this data, this data, this data and prints your marks report in a specific fashion with all the data. Printing report. Now, main called, always use these words. You called architect, you called engineer, you called mason. In the same way, same words use, main called read mark, main called find total, main called find average, main called print report. Ultimately, all these sub functions perform one subtask. Always you remember that. Every function should perform one single identifiable job. That means you should not entrust more than one job to a function. Here you see, find total. That is one statement. That is total marks is equal to P1 plus P2 plus P3 plus P4 plus P5. Now find average. That is total marks, average marks is equal to total marks by 5. But don't tempt that. This consists of, this function consists of one statement. This function consists of one statement. But don't club them. Don't club them. Every function should perform only one job. Here it finds total. After it finds total marks, then it takes that as input and finds average marks. This is the C principle. In function-oriented programming, you strictly follow this principle. Main task is divided into meticulous subtasks, and every identifiable task, subtask is to be entrusted to a function. And function's name should represent what it is doing. As soon as I tell carpenter, you understand what it does. As soon as I tell read marks, you should understand what it is doing. If I tell find marks, you should understand what it is doing. In this way, if you have to build the program, this is called function-oriented programming approach. So, from the day one, you don't write this type of model. Initially, you write code as a set of instructions like this only. Once you achieve command over writing program like this and all that, ultimately you develop this model. These lines you entrust to this, these lines you entrust to this, these lines you entrust to this. Like that, after some time, we develop the function-oriented model. In a function-oriented model, the program looks like this. It represents the real-life program like this. So, you understand, from the beginning, you understand one point. All programming concepts, irrespective of the language, it may be C, C++, Java, or anything, all the programming concepts are based on real-life concepts. So, every programming concept, you understand through real-life model. By that, you can easily understand. Now I explained. Just one time you read, you can own that. Everything borrowed from real life. So, in examination or in interviews, you explain like this. If you explain like this, actually the interview board people, interview board members will be very happy with your explanation. Understand? Nobody expects by-hearted stuff from you. In your exam also, if you by-heart things and all that, always you have a tension, whether you remember or not. Here, there is no question of remembering. Now, if I ask you what you did today means, how fluently you are able to explain. In the same manner, programming concept you must be in a position to explain. Because if you, every concept, each and every concept is borrowed from real life. So, you take a real life example and explain every concept like this. This is a function-oriented model. And first, if you achieve command over writing instructions. After that, you write a C program in a function-oriented model, and this will be like this. This is the best example. You remember that.